Okay, I figured I'd do a quick video for the Chapter 7 practice test questions, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Let's get started. Number 9, at the end of the day, the bakery had 3.5 trays of whole wheat bread and 2 1/5 trays of rye bread left. How many trays of bread were left altogether? Okay, so I'm not going to create a chart. I'm just going to circle things. So what do we know? Let's do that in yellow here. We know that there are 3.5 trays of whole wheat bread. We also know that there's 2 1/5 trays of bread left. Okay, what we're trying to find out is how many trays of bread were left altogether. Left altogether, that's like a total. That tells me addition. Okay, all right, let's get started. 3.5 plus 2 1/5. Okay, remember there are two ways of doing it. You can either add up the mixed numbers and convert from there. Either way, you need to get a common denominator for your half and your fifth, so I'm going to do that. So the best way to do that is finding the lowest common multiple. So the lowest common multiple for both of these is actually 10. So for a half, I needed to multiply it by 5. And for 1/5, I need to multiply it by 2. So that's our new totals. So just to remind you, 2, 5. What you do to the top, do to the bottom. Okay. So we'll just add these up quickly. So if I'm just doing the addition of, we're not doing improper, and then keep the denominator the same, add them up. Do we need to simplify? No, it's the lowest amount already. Next. Number 10, George spent 3 3/4 hours helping his mom. He spent 2.5 hours on the computer. A, how much more time did he spend helping his mom than on the computer? B, how much time did he spend helping and on the computer in total? Okay, what do we know? Do that in yellow. He spent 3 3/4 time helping mom, 2.5 hours on the computer. So for A, we'll do that in purple. How much more time did he spend helping his mom than on the computer? Let's start with A. That tells me that that is going to be subtraction. Okay, so let's do A in purple. So we have 3 3/4, subtract 2 1/2. Okay, I'm going to change these to improper fractions. So 3 times 4 plus 3 over 4. And then 2 times 2 plus 1. Okay, our new numbers are 12. 12 plus 3, 15 over 4. Subtract 2 times 2 plus 1, 5. Okay, we need to get a common denominator. Common denominator. That becomes 4, which is the lowest common multiple, so we don't need to change this one. That's the same. The other one we multiplied by 2. Okay, and then we have 5 over 2. We need to multiply that one by 2 to get our common denominator of 4. Multiplied by 2 on the bottom. Do the same to the top. 5 times 2 is 10. That gives us 5 over 4. Remember, this is an improper fraction. So we got to change it. So 4 goes into 5 once, leaving us with a remainder of 1 over 4. That's your final answer. Okay, 10B. How much time did he spend helping and and on the computer in total. So looking at that, total, that's addition. Okay, that's addition. So now we're going to add these two up. 3 3/4 plus 2 1/2. All right. So we need to have a common denominator. So we know the lowest common multiple for 4 and 2 is actually 4. Okay. So we got to change, make sure both those denominators are 4. So that becomes our 3 3/4 stays the same because it's already in our lowest common one. And then 2, because that's whole, but we need to change the other one to a 4. Okay, 2 times 2 gives us 4. So then that what we do to the bottom, we do to the top, 2. That gives us, so when we add everything up, 3 plus 2, that gives us 5. 3/4 plus 2/4 gives us 5/4. Oh, but wait. That is an improper fraction. So we actually got to take that one out. So what we need to do, a little scratch work. Do a little scratch work here on the bottom. So it's actually 5 plus the whole. So we got one whole there. And then what we're left with, so because you're thinking, well, how many times can 4 go into 5? Well, one whole left with 1/4. Okay, so then it becomes, the new answer is 6 1/4. Number 11, it snowed for 2 3/4 of an hour yesterday. Then it rained for another 1 1/6 of an hour. 11A, how many more hours did it snow than rain? B, how long did it snow and rain all together? Okay, it snowed for 2 3/4 of an hour. That's what we know. It then rained for another 1 1/6 of an hour. Sounds like Calgary weather. Okay, A, we're working on A here. A, how many more hours did it snow than rain? More hours than means subtraction. Okay, we're subtracting. Let's start with that. A, 2 3/4, subtract 1 1/6. Let's change this to improper. So we got our 2 times 4, add that 3, put it all over 4, subtract 1 times 6, plus the 1/6. Then we have 8 plus 3, 11/4. Subtract 7/6. Okay, we need to find that common denominator. The lowest common multiple for them happens to be 12. 12 and 12 here. Okay, so what you do to the bottom, you do to the top. This one we multiplied by 3. So 3 times 11 is 33. And what you do to the bottom, you do to the top over here. To get this 12, it's 2. So that becomes 2 times 7 is 14. Oops, I'm running out of space here. Okay, so 33/12 subtract 14/12 gives you 19/12. Now, again, improper, don't leave it like this. Improper, change it. You need to change it. Okay, how many times does 12 go into 19? 1 for sure. 19 subtract 12 gives us 7/12. Do we need to simplify? No, we're done. Okay, that's just A. Now we got to do B. Okay, B. How long did it snow and rain all together. That's a total. That's addition, kiddos. Add it up. 2 3/4, 1 1/6. Okay, so you can change it to an improper fraction, or you can just find that common denominator for your 3/4 and your 1/6. So that 2 3/4, the common denominator, lowest common multiple, will be 12. What you do to the bottom, you must do to the top. So if you have a 4 here, you multiplied that by 3. So that top becomes 9. 6 at the bottom here, multiplied by 2. Okay. So our 2 plus 1, that's 3. Oops. I noticed I made a little mini error here. Okay, and then our denominator stays the same. Okay, now 9 plus 2 is 11. So 3 and 11/12. Can we simplify it? No, it's at its lowest. Okay, last question. Brenda cooks for 2 2/3 on Saturday. On Sunday, she cooks for 1 3/4. A, how many more hours does she cook on Saturday than on Sunday? B, check your answer. Okay, so for this one, for the space of time in the video, we're not going to do that. We're just going, I can just tell you about that after, but we want to know how many more hours does she cook. So we got that it's 22 2/3 on Saturday, Sunday 1 1/3. Okay, so we got to figure out how many more hours than, so subtraction. Okay. All right, subtraction. 2 2/3 subtract by 1 3/4. Okay, so we'll do this one in our head. Improper fraction. 2 times 3, so 2 times 3, 6. 6 plus 2 is 8, 8/3. Subtract 1 times 4, 4. Plus 3 more, 7/4. Okay, we got to find that common denominator. Happens to be 12. Okay. What do you multiply 3 by to get 12? Well, you multiply it by 4. So what I do to the top, I do to the bottom. 4 times 8 is 32. Okay. And then on the other one, we multiplied by 3 to get 12. 3 times 7 is 21. Now we do our subtraction. Okay, so 32 minus 21 becomes 11. Denominator stays the same. So how many more hours does she cook on Saturday than on Sunday? 11/12 of an hour, because this is already simplified. That's our final. Okay? All right, to check your answer, you just work backwards. So you would just add, or B, you just add answer back in. Do an answer problem. So add 11/12 to maybe 1 3/4 and see if you actually get 2 2/3. All done.